Hello and welcome to Dogfight Central and to another episode of Basics of BFM. I'm Ben, and before we begin, I'm not a real pilot. Everything I say and do is open to critique and is meant to contribute to the overall conversation of BFM. With that said, let's get started. In the last video, you learned about energy and how to assess your own and your opponent's energy state, and why it is important to manage your energy correctly. In today's video, we're going to talk about reading the fight, how to process information in the fight, and how to use that information effectively in the fight. When in a dogfight, there is not much time to analyze and plan out the optimal moves. You must have a good instinct for what to do next. To start off, we're going to cover the 3 golden rules. So, what are the 3 golden rules? Well, they are 3 simple yet important principles you should follow whilst in a fight. And the first of these 3 principles or 3 golden rules is maintaining line of sight, or LOS. You will have heard the saying, lose sight, lose the fight. And yes, it's really simple, but very, very, very important. Because if you're not observing what your bandit is doing, not maintaining line of sight, you will have poor situational awareness, meaning you cannot effectively make decisions. The pilot who maintains line of sight the best will have the better situational awareness and will make the better decisions. The second of these 3 golden rules is maneuvering in relation. So, maneuvering relation, it's rather simple, or it's very self-explanatory, I should say. You maneuver your aircraft in relation to what your bandit is doing, trying to keep them within your vision and preferably on the front side of your canopy. And that is the goal of maneuvering in relation, maneuvering with the bandit and preferably trying to keep them in front of your canopy bow. And the last of these 3 golden rules is energy versus nose position. So, energy versus nose position. Well, as covered in the last video, in a dogfight you have energy. That'd be your aircraft's altitude and airspeed. And you will exchange that energy to gain position. And you can extend out to gain some of that energy back, but at a possible loss of position. But there is a relationship between the two of them. And you as a pilot must continuously assess and manage your energy levels, determining how much energy is required at a given moment. You must think, when can I gain back some of my energy, take that energy back, and when can you spend that energy to gain position? Remember, BFM is nothing more than an exercise in problem solving. Every maneuver must follow the intention of creating BFM problems for your opponent, whilst also solving any BFM problems that you may have. You must always think, what if, during a dogfight, and how a decision in that moment can affect you in the long run. And you might be thinking, well, how do we make decisions in a dogfight? And this is where the OODA loop comes in. So, what is the OODA loop? Well, the OODA loop is a thought process made by John Boyd. And what does OODA mean? Well, it refers to 4 phases: observe, orientate, or orient, decide, and act. And how do you apply this in a fight? Well, you start off with observing what is happening in the fight. And this is where maintaining a line of sight and keeping good situational awareness comes in. You're taking in the information around you. For example, are they fast? Are they slow? Are they high? Are they low? Whilst also taking into account your own aircraft's airspeed and position. And you take this into the orient phase, where you analyze that information using your previous experience and knowledge and making a decision based on that. And then you act upon that decision. Then you react to changes caused by that decision, and the OODA loop will repeat. The pilot who cycles through the OODA loop the fastest and most efficiently will gain the advantage, putting more pressure on the opponent, always staying one step ahead before their opponent can even react, forcing them to make a mistake. I see some people see dogfighting as a case of they do a move, I do a move. But no, you have to always be moving. A dogfight is a very fluid thing. If you spend too much time trying to be creative, thinking, being a proverbial deer in the headlights, then you're already dead. No one cares that in theory you would have won if you did this. If you're dead, you're dead. I'd much rather you make a mistake and survive than be indecisive and die. Surviving is winning. Now, to effectively do the OODA loop, you gotta first know what type of fight you're in. And there are two main fights, that being the 1 circle fight and the 2 circle fight. So, 1 circle, 2 circle. What's the difference, and why should you know the difference? Well, the difference between the 1 circle and 2 circle fight is relatively simple and self-explanatory. Well, not really self-explanatory, but it's relatively simple. The 1 circle fight happens when 2 aircraft turn in the same relative direction as each other, going nose to nose. This fight is all about having as tight of a turn circle as possible, as each aircraft is trying to go for the smallest possible radius, trying to outturn their opponent to gain an angular or positional advantage. Meanwhile, the 2 circle fight is a nose to tail fight. You're chasing each other. It is also known as the rate fight, as whoever has the best turn rate and gets around their circle the fastest will win. Maintaining an optimal sustained turn rate is typically the best option, especially in a prolonged rate fight, as over time you will turn better if you keep up your airspeed instead of bleeding it for instantaneous. Always remember energy versus nose position. Do I want to bleed my energy for a little bit of position, or wait and hold on to that energy and use it elsewhere more effectively and efficiently? In simple terms, what I'm trying to say is that for both fights, you must carefully consider your energy state relative to the bandit and determine the fight that is to your advantage. Do I have an energy advantage? Go 2 circle. Energy disadvantage? Probably force 1 circle. Obviously, there is more to these fights than what I talked about, but that will go more in depth in a later video. Everything covered in this video will be used to make better decisions whilst in a dogfight. Observing your situation, following the 3 golden rules, asking yourself, do I have the energy or the turning room? What is the bandit doing? Where is the bandit? But remember, practice makes perfect. The more you dogfight, the more natural these concepts will become. As you gain experience and knowledge, you'll be able to make faster and better decisions, growing that natural instinct. And that's everything that will be covered in this video. I hope you enjoyed listening to me yap for 15 minutes. I'm sorry. But good luck dogfighting, and I hope you all have a nice day.